My name is Susan Boyle.
Okay, Susan, where are you from?
I am from Blackburn near Bathgate, West Lothian.
It's a big town.
It's a sort of collection of, villages.
She walked onto the stage with messy hair, wearing a gold lace dress. And the moment she opened her mouth, the world stood still. That woman was Susan Boyle. And her voice would become one of the most unforgettable sounds ever broadcast from the stage of Britain's Got Talent. But before her name trended worldwide and broke YouTube records, she was invisible to the world, laughed at, dismissed, bullied. And just as fast as she rose to fame, she disappeared. What happened to the woman who stunned the world? Why did she vanish? And what secrets was she hiding? Susan Boyle was born on April 1, 1961, at Bangor Village Hospital in West Lothian, Scotland. Her mother Bridget was 47 years old, a devout Roman Catholic, and refused to terminate the high-risk pregnancy. The birth was traumatic. Susan was deprived of oxygen during delivery, and doctors diagnosed her with mild brain damage, a label that would follow her for decades. Growing up in Blackburn, a small town outside Edinburgh, Susan was the ninth and youngest child in a working class family already struggling to make ends meet. At school, Susan was mocked and mistreated. Teachers punished her harshly when she couldn't keep up. Students bullied her, calling her cruel names like Susie Simple and Touchy. Her epilepsy made her faint in class, and her seizures were treated as entertainment by her peers. At home, things weren't better. Her father, Patrick, a World War II veteran, struggled with mental health issues and often lashed out. Susan endured both physical and emotional abuse, yet somehow, she still loved her father, believing he was fighting demons no one else could see. Despite her brutal childhood, Susan found peace in music. She joined her church choir and sang at local pubs and charity events. It was her only escape. Her dream of becoming a singer burned quietly inside her, but the world kept telling her she wasn't good enough. In 1995, she auditioned for the talent show My Kind of People, but nerves overwhelmed her, and she didn't make it on television. In 1999, she recorded Cry Me a River for a charity CD. Only 1,000 copies were made, and the world barely noticed. The rejection crushed her, but she kept singing privately, hoping one day her voice would be heard. Her sister Kathleen was her biggest supporter, always urging Susan to share her talent with the world. But when Kathleen died suddenly in 2000, Susan's world collapsed. She stopped singing entirely. For 2 years, she avoided music altogether. The grief was unbearable. Eventually, she found her way back to song, but now her mother Bridget needed her. In her late 80s and frail, Bridget required full-time care. So, Susan stayed in the small council house where she grew up, her world shrinking to a few quiet rooms. Then, in October 2007, tragedy struck again. Bridget passed away at the age of 91. Her death left Susan devastated and alone. For almost 2 years, Susan became a recluse. Neighbors rarely saw her. She stopped going to church. Her curtains stayed closed. Her only companion was her cat, Pebbles. The once bright and musical home turned into a tomb of silence. But Susan had made a promise to her mother before she died, that she would audition for Britain's Got Talent, and in late 2008, she decided to honor that promise. She was 47, unemployed, and had never performed outside her local community. But with a trembling heart, she filled out the application form and went to Glasgow for her audition. On April 11, 2009, Susan Boyle walked on stage at the Clyde Auditorium. The audience snickered. The judges Simon Cowell, Amanda Holden, and Piers Morgan exchanged doubtful looks when Susan said she wanted to be as famous as Elaine Page. The audience actually laughed out loud. But the second she began to sing I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables, the room froze. Gasps filled the air. Faces shifted from mockery to awe. Before Susan Boyle even finished singing I Dreamed a Dream, the audience erupted into applause. Simon Cowell's jaw dropped. Amanda Holden called it a wake-up call never to judge someone by their appearance. Within days, her audition clip went viral. YouTube views soared over 100 million in just 9 days. She became the #1 trending topic on Twitter, with celebrities like Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher publicly praising her. Major outlets like CNN, BBC, and the New York Times all covered her remarkable rise. In the semifinals, Susan returned to sing Memory from Cats and again captured hearts, earning the most votes of any contestant, but in a twist that stunned the world. She lost the final to dance troupe Diversity. Heartbroken and overwhelmed, Susan broke down backstage. She threw a glass, shouted at producers, and eventually collapsed. She was rushed to the Priory Clinic in London, diagnosed with exhaustion. Media frenzy followed. Paparazzi stalked her home. Headlines focused on her mental health amid the chaos. Simon Cowell offered to cancel her tour contract, but Susan chose resilience. Just 3 days later, she joined the BGT tour, performing across 20 cities in the UK and Ireland, receiving standing ovations at every stop. On November 23, 2009, Susan released her debut album I Dreamed a Dream. It became the fastest-selling debut album in history, over 2 million copies sold in 1 week. By year's end, she had outsold Eminem, Lady Gaga, and Rihanna in less than 2 years. She became the first woman in UK history to have 3 consecutive #1 albums. She earned tens of millions in record sales. And in 2012, she performed at Windsor Castle for Queen Elizabeth II during her Diamond Jubilee celebration. But even with success, Susan couldn't escape pain. Her newfound wealth caused turmoil within her family. She gave away $1.8 million to siblings and nieces. One brother, Jerry, reportedly threatened suicide unless she gave him money. Susan later admitted she lied to her other relatives to cover it up. She just wanted the fighting to stop. Family meetings ended in tears. The fortune she had earned out of love became a source of conflict and betrayal. In 2012, a doctor finally gave Susan clarity. She was officially diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism. For years, she had believed she was brain damaged. In truth, her IQ was above average. The misdiagnosis had robbed her of confidence her entire life. But now, she finally understood herself. She found relief, pride, purpose. That same year, another diagnosis hit: type 2 diabetes. It forced her to quit sugar, lose weight, and overhaul her lifestyle. By 2018, she had lost 50 pounds. And then, in April 2022, disaster struck again. Susan Boyle suffered a minor stroke. It nearly stole her voice. For over a year, she disappeared completely. No music, no appearances, nothing. But Susan fought back. She spent nearly 3 years in intense rehabilitation, speech therapy, vocal exercises, physical recovery. Every day was a struggle, but in June 2023, she did the impossible. She returned to the Britain's Got Talent stage and sang I Dreamed a Dream again 13 years after. That fateful night, the crowd wept. Simon Cowell called it the most emotional moment of his life. Her performance became a symbol of hope, a miracle. In 2014, during a tour in Florida, Susan met a doctor. They had lunch. He kissed her on the cheek. It was her first real kiss. She was 53. They never married, but she called it one of the sweetest memories of her life. A reminder that it's never too late for love or for dreams to come true. On April 1st, 2025, Susan Boyle turned 64. After years of silence, she returned to social media with a message: I'm back, definitely back, thank you for waiting. She announced new music, a documentary, and live shows, proof that Susan Boyle's story is far from over. From a quiet Scottish town to global stardom, she didn't just dream, she soared. If her journey moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Her voice isn't done, and neither is she. Thanks for watching.